Well, we're all about Halloween today, and as it turns out, Halloween can be a very scary time for injuries. Medical expert Dr. James Pinkney joins us on the KOGO News live line. And Dr. Pinkney, it turns out we shouldn't just worry about kids on Halloween, right?
That's exactly right. The kids at the most risk, we typically would think, 3 to 8 years old. It's actually kids that are 12 to 18, so adolescents are at the highest risk. And that's because there's a 20% bump in pedestrian deaths involving a drunk driver on Halloween.
So, plus kids are in costume a lot of times. They're dressed as ninjas, which means you can't see them anyway. So doesn't this just make it super dangerous?
That's exactly right. So what I recommend is to fasten some sort of reflective tape to costumes and to bags so that drivers can see your trick-or-treaters better.
Now, doctor, in the ER, it turns out that most injuries are from carving pumpkins. Is that correct?
That is true. 56% of injuries that we see on Halloween night are from pumpkin carving. It's by far the most common injury, and what happens is people will use knives that aren't very sharp or well made, and their hands will slip, and then they'll have a laceration injury. So what I recommend, definitely never let the kids carve the pumpkin. Kids can use paint, markers to decorate the pumpkin, but the adults should definitely carve the pumpkin. And if you do receive a laceration injury, and it's a thin injury, rinse the wound off with cold water, then apply preferably gauze, but if you don't have any gauze, some clean paper towel, and hold pressure for 5 minutes. Do not peek. Arterial injuries that bleed profusely require 5 minutes of direct pressure before a clot can form. So try that. If it's a skinny laceration and it stops, then you won't need stitches. But if it's wide, greater than 3 millimeters, then you're probably going to need to travel to the ER and have some stitches placed.
Now, I know that it's a kind of a scary time for pets, too, Doc.
Yeah, pets are low to the ground, small. So if you're taking your pet out, again, definitely want to fasten some type of reflective tape to the costume so the pet is visible. Everybody in a trick-or-treating group should have a flashlight. That's very important.
And you know what, Doctor? This kind of surprised me is that for years and years and years, people have said, watch out for apples with needles in them or razor blades, and watch out for poison candy. And I've read that there has never actually been a documented case of poison candy from strangers in the U.S.
That is correct. We have no documented cases of poison candy, but definitely use common sense. Inspect the candy that your kids bring home. Make sure that it's factory wrapped. Stay away from homemade treats. And that's not because they're intentionally poisoned, but there could be some, you don't know how it was prepared, and there could be some bacteria there. So factory wrapped treats, stay away from homemade goodies, and make sure that the kids aren't actually entering the home that they're going to trick-or-treat at. Stay on the porch, get your candy, and then, of course, never go into a car as well. For a treat.
Very good points, and also keep the dogs away from the chocolate. Medical expert Dr. James Pinkney joining us live on the KOGO News Live Line. Thank you, Doctor.